With Foxhole receiving more and more new players over recent months, I've been seeing posts from these same players feeling useless on the battlefield due to how deep the mechanics are in the game. And this got me thinking. The tutorial in Foxhole goes over a general idea of what you can accomplish in-game, but it doesn't dive deep into some roles new players can take on to help make an impact in the war effort. So I've come up with a list of 6 common and not so common roles for new players to consider in order to make the biggest impact possible in Foxhole. We're going to go from the easiest roles to the more complicated and difficult roles later in the video. And again, the point of this video is to address this issue of feeling useless. Dying in Foxhole is to be expected and is just a part of the game. But if you take on a few of these roles on the front or back line, you could be providing an essential service to your faction that could potentially turn the tide of the war. So with that, let's dive into the first role, mass producing resources. Super easy and always needed in every Logi town across the map. Simply pick up a hauler or flatbed, gather some raw resources, and turn them into B-mats or E-mats. If you're feeling generous, you can set them to public queues, and the B-mats and E-mats will automatically be put in the refinery's public inventory. Or if you want some recognition for your hard work, right-click on the basic material or explosive material icon, select Retrieve as crates, and submit them to the nearest storage depot or seaport. Everyone in the region will see you submitting them and give you commends. From there, it's a simple rinse and repeat. It can get boring after a while, but if you want to help the logistics players speed up production, having a constant flow of basic resources like B-mats and E-mats will help out immensely. When it comes to ways you can make an impact on the battlefield, being a loot goblin is one of the best ways to ensure your side is mitigating loss of vital supplies. Like the Roman gypsies of Europe, you'll spawn in, remove everything from your body, and immediately pick up anything off the ground. Try to prioritize pieces of equipment that require R-mats to make since they're more expensive to produce. Some other good items to pick up are ammo and medical supplies like bandages and plasma. Your frontline Logi players will thank you for easing the burden of constantly needing to supply the front every 15 minutes. If you're a conscientious objector and your values closely resemble that of Desmond Doss, you can still make a difference on the front line as a medic. There's a couple different ways you can go about being a medic for the front line. One way is just equipping medical fatigues and saving unsuspecting privates from getting blown away by incoming grenades and arty shells. It's simple, straightforward, and you can have fun RPing a bit. Yes, baby, I got you. Say something sweet in my ear.
Little tank pushing you guys. Little tank to the...
The other way to be a medic on the front line is to really dive into the tools at your disposal. Build yourself an ambulance and a frontline field hospital to help produce vital soldier supplies, also known as shirts, for your faction. The new field hospitals can now also act as a spawn point, which alleviates the burden of soldier supplies from bunker bases. Once the field hospital is up and running, just run around until you find a passed out soldier on the ground, definitely not dead. Pick his ass up and haul him to the nearest corpse starch facility, also known as the field hospital. Run. Wait, I don't need you, Tender.
Thank you. Oh no.
I need this critically wounded soldier.
I'm critically wounded.
I'm sorry. There's another medic. Get out here and pick that guy up. I've been hunting for a fucking critically wounded soldier for so long. Once you're there, submit the body to the field inventory by pressing the button on screen here. And over time, you'll collect more and more bodies, which is going to increase your shirt output from that field hospital. Now we're getting into the more difficult roles for beginners to take on, starting with solo partisaning. As daunting as partisaning may appear, if your goal is to slow or eliminate enemy frontline logistics, it's easier to be successful than you might think. I made a beginner guide to partisaning that goes in depth on some of the strategies players could consider, but in general, you want to get a lay of the land and find the main roads that lead to your enemy's front line. Those are the roads you'll scout out first, and as soon as you notice Logi trucks driving through, it's a safe bet that more will be coming through at any moment. Understand the fact that your first few lives should be treated as scouting runs. Get as much intelligence about enemy defenses along the roads and choke points that you can use to your advantage. If you're able to take out a single Logi truck full of supplies, that's 15 crates of valuables not making it to the enemy's bunker base. That's in exchange for your 1 life. Even if it takes 5 of your lives to take out 1 Logi truck, you're still going to go positive and make an impact on the front line. The next role is the frontline engineer. Now this role can be as simple as you see a blueprint on the front line, you grab some B-mats and your hammer and you help whoever's placing those blueprints. After a while, you get inducted into a local chain gang where you just slap B-mats onto blueprints for the next 3 hours. Being a frontline engineer does require a good level of planning if little to no structures exist in your particular frontline. Sometimes the front pushes so fast that previous bunkers and trenches are left as husks or eventually despawn. It's important to plan an effective defensive line in case the frontline push loses steam and you go from advancing to defending. But for all you beginners, simply placing watchtowers in the direction you're advancing and pillboxes around Logi routes can make a real impact in terms of providing key intelligence for your forces and keeping your Logi trucks safe from partisans. Now we've reached the hardest role for new players, and it's public logistics. I put public Logi at the most difficult mainly for 2 reasons. 1, a lot of new players get confused on how to do Logi from the back line to the front line. And number 2, veteran players for some reason hate when you take a storage container and fill it up with public Logi. And I know for some of you guys watching right now, you're probably thinking, no, Grumble, I don't have any issue with that. I've not only seen, but I've also been yelled at by these same players for filling up flatbeds or iron ships with public Logi. I don't know why some players have a problem with it, aside from it taking too long to pull public crates, but that's a design issue by the devs, not a player issue. But they really don't like it when seaports get slowed down by public Logi players. In any case, if this happens to you, just calmly tell those players in the most respectful tone possible,
eat shit and die.
The reality is, if these public crates do nothing but collect dust in the backline, they're effectively a waste of resources. Whether players like it or not, they need to be moved to the front line, and if there's a public Logi Chad willing to take the bare dildo that is public Logi pull times in the ass, we should commend them 3 times over. Alright, enough of my soapbox. It's pretty straightforward. Find a front line that needs supplies. Pick a storage depot or seaport, either in the same hex or an adjacent hex from the front line. Once you've picked out your destination, try and find a storage depot or seaport that has a bunch of public crates for you to take to the front line. You want to make sure that there's a flatbed available and shipping containers as well. Fill that puppy up, and after 45 minutes of pulling crates, head on over to your destination. I've also made a beginner guide on how to do logistics, both in the front and back line, and various ways you could do logistics. So take a look at that in addition to the partisan videos down in the description below. Doing public logistics isn't for players who like high-octane action or frequently use TikTok. But if you have the patience and maybe are a bit of a masochist, doing public logistics is the best way to make the biggest impact for your faction. And that's it for how new players can make the biggest impact every war in Foxhole. If you liked the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel for more Foxhole-related content. I've got some more lesser-known roles that players can take on to help their faction, so if that's something you're interested in seeing, make sure you leave a comment down below. Also, if there's any other nuances that I missed for the roles mentioned in the video, make sure to share those with the new players in the comment section as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
That's the sound that is butt.